So it's Thanksgiving Day. Got another Thanksgiving dish I like to prepare. This is something that I like. Not everybody likes it, but I guess it's all in the way you present it. So I take my necks that come with my turkeys and I put them in a bag and I save them, and I make a casserole out of them. So this is a turkey and rice. So you might just, if you plan on making this, you might just call it turkey and rice and just don't tell anybody you're using the neck meat, because a lot of people just say, I don't like it, and they don't even try it. So what I'm gonna do is, I got my Dutch oven here and a little burner that we're gonna brown off those turkey necks, and then take them out, and then get some onions and garlic and mushrooms going, and then add a little soup and some stock and the necks back in, and we're gonna put the lid on it. We're gonna throw it in the smoker and let it all come together, and it makes a good side dish on Thanksgiving. Like I said, if you tell them that there's necks being involved, some people will just immediately just say, nah, I don't like it. But neck meat's good and it's cheap, and most people just throw it away. But this is the way you can use some of that, and as far as a side dish, it's cheap. It's a can of soup, some mushrooms, onions, and chicken stock. Should be making chicken stock on Thanksgiving anyway, so make a little extra and use it for this. So I'm gonna get this started and show you how it goes. I'm just browning these up a little bit, get a little bit of a sear on the outside of them. I've got it, I started out on high, turned it down just a little bit, but I'm just gonna let these cook a little bit just to get a sear, and then I'm gonna take them out. So that's what I'm looking for, a good brown on the outside. You don't want to skip this step. This adds a lot of flavor. You don't want to just throw them in there raw. You want to give them a good little sear on both sides. Both back sides getting seared up good there. These are just about ready. We're going to take these out and add the onions in. So this is one medium white onion and 2 cloves of garlic. And so I'm gonna cook this too long, just to get it started. Add a little Creole to it. That's it. I'm just gonna get them started. So I'm adding them together. I don't want my garlic to burn, so I'm gonna let them fry up for just a minute or two, and then add the mushrooms. So that's been going about 2 minutes. I've got a package of sliced baby bellas. I bought these because they were on sale, but any kind of mushroom will be fine probably. I've used shiitakes because I grow them. I've usually got some, but I don't right now. White mushrooms, regular just white mushrooms are fine. And I'm gonna cook these down till they start to wilt down a little bit. So I want these to cook a little bit before I go to my next step. And I'm using brown rice because it's what I had on in the cabinet. But you can use, I guess you can use white rice. You don't want the quick cook stuff. You want just the plain rice. The instant rice, it doesn't take long to cook. You want this to cook down a little bit, and I like the brown. It takes a little longer for it to cook through. You can use wild rice, but it's more expensive. I didn't have any, so I didn't go out and buy some. I had a whole bag of this brown, and it works fine. But if you're gonna make it kind of nice, fancy, get some of that wild rice, and you can call it a turkey and wild rice casserole or something like that. That sounds nice. Don't call it turkey neck casserole like I did. Everybody's just kind of snarling nose. This is really good. The neck meat is excellent. It's real tender and juicy, and you can't go wrong by using this. So this is cooked down a little bit, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. So next thing, I'm gonna add my rice in, and I've rinsed this off a little bit. So kind of rinsed a little bit of the starch out of it. So I want to stir this in and get some of that oil. I'm using lard. So I want this to soak up some of that oil before I go to my next step. Let that fry off just a little bit. This is 1.5 cups of rice. So this is going to swell up a lot when it cooks. I'm going to let that cook for a few minutes. So this has just been about a minute, and you can see that it's really soaked up all that fat that was in the pan. Just toasting it off just a little bit. Keep it stirring. Don't want it to burn. So now we're gonna add the soup, and this is just a large can of cream of mushroom. That should be good. Might be too much soup. Might just need a regular size can, but at this point we can just kind of start adding everything else back in. Got the necks back in, got my chicken stock. I skimmed a little fat off the top. You can kind of see that's like almost like a jello consistency on that chicken stock. That's what you're looking for when you make chicken stock. You want it, when it's chilled, you want it to be gelatinous. So we're gonna give this a good stir, and I'm gonna let the heat come up on this. Try to get this up to a little simmer before I throw it in the smoker. My smoker's fired up, so that's what I'm using. You can throw this in an oven at probably 325 degrees. Nothing too hot. I wouldn't do like 400. But my smoker's up to about 300 degrees. So let's get all that mixed together. And I'm gonna throw the lid on it. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna hit it with just a little bit more seasoning here. Just a little bit more of this Cavender's. Stir that in. And the soup's salty. And I've seasoned it a little bit when I was cooking the onions. And I seasoned the meat a little bit before I browned it. So I don't want to go overboard with the seasoning, but probably gonna have to add a little water to this. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and add about 1/2 cup of water to this before I put it in the smoker. All right, so I'll add a little bit of water, however much that is, I don't know. This doesn't have to be perfect. You just don't want the liquid the rice will absorb a lot of this liquid as it cooks, and you don't want it to get too dry. So occasionally you want to come stir while it's cooking. So that may be too much liquid, but we'll see as we go. The rice will absorb, but to start out, I'm gonna cover it, and then near the end, if it's too much liquid, I'll leave the cover off for a little while and let some of that liquid evaporate out. So this is gonna go, I don't know, an hour or so, maybe a little longer, maybe a little less. Just gotta play it by ear. So just gonna bring this up to a good simmer and put the lid on it, and then throw it in the smoker. So we've been going about 30 minutes. I'll give it a stir. So just use my lifter to get the top off of it. And it's doing good. Got a little bubbling going on. Just gonna give it a little stir off the bottom. Yeah, it's doing fine. The casserole's been going, I think, about an hour and a half, hour and 20, something like that. So we're gonna take the lid off, take a look at it. It's looking good. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these necks out. I'm just gonna take them out and put them on a plate, and I'm gonna shred up all that meat. So you can see how much meat I pulled off of those 2 neck bones. Just gonna put that back in the casserole and mix it in.